All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Realms of the Wild. Yes, this is the Open Legend RPG on Zelda Universe, run by me and played by the amazing people you see on the screen. To address room, hello, Mr. Snuffly Afalik Ikapagas. Beyond that, though, Ilea, the wonderful play Zulta, is unfortunately unable to join us today. She's at a memorial service, so our hearts and thoughts go out with her. But we still have our other three victim players. We're
called players.
Wow.
Here. So should be pretty good. Just a few very, very quick announcements before we get back to the lovely, wonderful situation that chat last week for these lovely players. We'll start with Zelda Universe is actually doing a giveaway. It is sponsored by Muffin Brooks. There should be a link or something similar to that showing up in chat relatively soon. I actually don't know what the delay is on our broadcast, but it should be relatively soon. But you can enter to win one of 5 prize packs containing consisting of a poster, controller skin, and decal. Again, that's sponsored by Muffin Bros Graphics. Wonderful people. As far as Realms of the Wild news, we actually have a double winner in the cast. As the regular viewers should already know, we have quite a few different ways that we are trying to make it so you guys can specifically interact with the story, award your favorite players, favorite characters with stuff that they need to survive and do cool things. And two of those ways we do that is we have you guys share your favorite moment from the show with the hashtag Realms of the Wild, and the moment that gets the most likes, the player or players involved in that moment will get a legend point. That moment this week actually goes to a moment between Kestrel and I, where Kestrel was trying to figure out, the vulnerable spots on a rock, and learned that it's a rock. It doesn't have any vulnerable spots. Get off the lawn, guy.
That's all you. That was all you. I was just a dumbass.
So
Nobody gets a legend point.
Yeah. Because generally I will not take a legend point unless it is only NPCs in the thing. Kestrel, you get a legend point for that.
Okay.
And then on our off week, we do broadcast the show. Same time, same place. We rebroadcast the show here at Zelda Universe TV. And as soon as the broadcast is over, we put up a Twitter poll as far as who they thought the MVP was. We had something like 120 some odd votes this week, which is really awesome. And it was neck and neck between Pierre and Kestrel. And at the very last moment, Kestrel pulled ahead.
Oh.
And so you get another legend point. Again, these legend points that you get from the audience are not bound by the rules that other legend points are, where you can only use, a maximum of 2 at this level or anything. No, these are special ones. If you want to use them, you go ahead and use them.
All right.
So, yes, guys, once the episode is over, please tweet at Zelda Universe. Use the hashtag Realms of the Wild. We love clips and other things like that. Or you can just describe your favorite situation, and the one that gets the most likes is going to get whomever was involved. So if the entire cast was involved, everybody gets a legend point. Or in this case, if it was a specific character, they get a legend point. It's a way for you to help and reward your favorite players and your favorite characters for doing what they do so amazingly awesome. And then, yeah, don't forget to vote in the Twitter poll. Again, follow Zelda Universe on Twitter. It's at Zelda Universe on Twitter, if I'm correct. Thank you, Elias. Elias knows so much more than I do. That's why I keep him around here.
That's exactly the reason he keeps me around.
It's exactly what it is. Yes. So yes, follow them and vote in the MVP poll every week, so that you can do all these cool stuff. Is there very quickly any announcements from anyone else in the cast before I start doing my recap, or any other Zelda Universe announcements I have missed?
I would just like to announce that, man, Jody, you're a really cool guy, and man,
yeah.
It's I just
brown nosing
so
the DM is never a bad idea.
I should also
I'm going
point
to
out
get
that
slightly more comfortable. I realized, because my mic, I had pushed it forward so I could adjust things in the background. I was hunched over speaking into my mic. So I'm going to lean back a little bit and move my mic a little closer so I can be comfortable and not ruin my posture in a single 2-hour game.
Posture's overrated.
That's a good idea.
So, to kind of bring you guys up to speed, if maybe you missed last week's episode or anything like that, these guys were in a had stopped at a little kind of pop-up settlement that seemed a little bit out of place where it was. Found out that someone had died under very, very mysterious circumstances, and there was a group of hunters that were hired to protect this group, and they were going to head into the forest to try and find the monster that did this. The head of the group knew that there was no monster, but again, he was paid to protect these people. He was going to go out. Zulta, being the incredibly humble person that she is, made the decision that these people will die unless she specifically helps them. And so you guys went out looking for a monster there that didn't exist, only to find a monster that does exist in the form of a talus, a giant rock monster that rock monster.
Thank you. Sorry, every time you said it last time, I was like, it's
rock
in my
monster.
head.
Now there's a dolphin.
And so you guys started dealing with that. Kestrel had this amazing idea to try to trip it, and then she found out exactly how much fun it is to get hit by a big rock monster, and is now perched on the creature's back because she assumes that she can't get hit there, and has found something shiny on the creature's back.
I mean, I didn't assume I couldn't get hit there. I just saw something shiny, and being the treasure hunter Indiana Jones thing that I am, was like, ooh!
Never the wrong time to treasure hunt.
So
it can be important. It might work like a golem. I'm not sure.
We'll find out.
Who knows? We're about to find out, aren't we?
Uh-oh.
Like I said,
I
I
also
really
threw
like you,
up.
Jody.
Like, I feel like that's weirdly important to bring up. There was vomiting.
So, yes, we were actually going to keep the initiative order we had last week, because obviously, as the amazing, awesome DM I am, I wouldn't have just, gotten rid of the document I used to track initiative or anything like that. I mean, why would I do something like that? Of course, I have absolutely everything saved.
How excellent.
You kind of lie like Zulta.
I'm getting pretty close to it.
It's okay. When I opened up my character sheet today, I was like, wait, how many hit points do I have? Crap. Thank God I had
I do have the hit points tracked, and I remember the order that you guys were in, which was, I believe, Pierre. That's how you spell Pierre.
How did you spell Pierre?
It was P-I-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E. A tremor is really fun to type with, guys.
Oh.
Pierre.
Pierre! That works. That's fine.
Maybe
so-
people shouted your name a lot when you were younger, so you just assumed it's how it was spelled. Pierre!
They shouted it in text.
I don't know.
Or saying it, that's
I
fine.
Before
Anyway,
they probably are now.
Top of the order is Kestrel, then Pierre, then Aruna and Zulta actually go at the same time. Normally, in a situation where a player is not here, I generally would not. It would just be a kind of silent protagonist, or like what happened with Kiri a couple of weeks ago. I would give them a story reason to not be with the party. Ilea has given me permission to for combat because they're giant fighting a giant rock monster, and figured it would be a good idea to have someone there. So and due to the fact that I know a heck of a lot more about her backstory too, because she had to tell it to me,
Yeah.
I can make sure that she doesn't do anything that would be completely out of character.
Were we supposed to tell you our backstory?
I will be running her for combat. Once combat is over, she will probably go into a more meditative state, probably until next week. So
I suspect that you
top of
know
the
more
order.
about all of our characters than probably our characters do.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's some amazing stuff that you guys are gonna find out eventually if you survive this fight, about your characters
As long as we don't see
that
DK.
you didn't even know. So that's storytelling, folks.
Woo!
So we're going to pick up literally right where we left off at the to be continued last week. Kestrel, you are on the back of this giant rock creature. You were smart enough to realize that being within reach of this shiny object was where you wanted to be. So when you kind of hook shot it up, the last thing that you did is you hook shot up. You are within arm's reach. If you swing a little bit of this precious gem, it seems, on the back of this creature, and you have just taken out one of your daggers and are hanging on the back of this thing. And
that was
we are
the end of
actually
my
going
turn.
to start. We're actually going to start with you to make things simple because you're at the top of the initiative order.
I mean,
So-
I think we had ended after my turn, but if you want to give me a
We're
turn,
going
Don't
to
question
give
it.
you another
Don't
one because
question
it again it makes it easier for the DM
they've
whose
got the
memory is
record.
Swiss
They can
cheese.
call me a liar later. I want to at least be upfront about that.
That's fine.
And for some odd reason, I don't think you're going to have a very good time by the end of initiative. So I figure it's the beginning of the show. I might as well let you have a good time at the beginning. So
Okay.
what?
So,
do you
just
want
out of
to do?
curiosity, can you remind me how that legend point works?
So legend points, the way that they work is
I don't wanna know.
you basically decide I want to spend a legend point, and it will give you advantage 1 for each legend point that you spend.
Cool.
The normal rules are you can only bank up to 10 of them at a time, and you can only use 1 plus your level on any specific roll. Again, any legend points you earn from the from the chat or anything like that do not follow these rules. They are special legend points. Use as many as you would like to give you as much advantage as you want.
Shiny. Okay. So I would like to try to swing up and actually dig that dagger into the side of that pretty jewel. Like if I can wedge it between the jewel and the rest of the rock.
So one thing you notice while you're up there, which would be very, very obvious with how close you are, is the rock almost looks like it's growing out of the jewel. It's not that it's kind of wedged into the rock or anything like that. It's almost like the creature itself is grown from this jewel.
Okay.
It is there would be nowhere you could wedge it in without chipping away at the rock around it. But again, the gem is there. So, knowing
Could
that
I
information.
Attempt trying to figure out if my pommel would be better or my blade. Because clearly, if it's growing out of it, I'm like, all right, this is that weak spot I was possibly mocked about not being able to find.
Well,
Or
you
maybe
are
it's not
a
weak spot, I don't actually know.
you're a very logical type person, and you understand physics in general. The idea of, you know, equals mass times acceleration, and the smaller the point of contact, the greater the amount of force you're going to exert per square inch. So theoretically, the pommel is slightly larger point of contact than the point of your dagger, but you also run the risk of a sharp object, a hard precious gem like object, whereas a blunt object just kind of smacking it. So either option seems viable to you.
Ran out of.
Oh, sorry. Obviously, a knife going up, you know, a pointy object glancing off of a precious stone is likely, probably slightly less likely than a more blunt object glancing off of a, you know, precious stone or something. It shouldn't seem viable to you, depending on your feelings. I can tell you mechanically, you're going to make the same roll. So.
Okay. Oh, I know. I'm just like piercing damage. Technically. All right.
Again, one other thing, if you'd like to examine, I'll let you do this as a minor action. If you'd like to examine a little bit more, maybe try and figure out composition or something like that, learning check.
Oh, yeah. If I'm allowed to do that, I would love to do that.
I'll let you go ahead and make that as a minor action. So.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, got distracted.
It's that battle music.
15.
15. All right. So, learning, not logic, actually.
Oh, okay.
This will be more history based than figuring out a puzzle type thing. So.
18.
Even better. So, looking at it, it is a precious gem, but it seems to have a very different purpose in this creature. That this creature.
In wealth, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It seems like an intrinsic part of this creature, and you think no matter what, striking it or something like that is going to affect this creature much more than just the rest of the creature itself is going to, and that the precious gem aspect of it being, you know, precious gems in general are generally more dense than most materials. It's probably going to react differently than, you know, a diamond or a sapphire you might find in an actual rock. Okay. While it is a part of this creature. Beyond that, come up against one of these things, so you're not 100% sure.
Yeah, that would be fair. Okay.
You've probably read about creatures like this. They're not incredibly super rare. They just don't tend too often enough that you would have experienced one in your life. Even with your spelunking the background. You may have run away from one once.
Possibly. I'm like, oh crap. Today I learned. So holding very tightly to my hook shot, to use that for balance, I'm gonna kind of like repel enough that I can just freaking stab my dagger as hard as I can into the center of that gem.
Go ahead and make a dagger attack for me then.
Dagger strike. Boom. And I think just because I'm desperate, I would like to add one of my legend points to that.
Go for it. You get advantage one on that attack.
Please don't kill me. Submit.
30!
So what did you get so the audience at home knows?
And me.
30.
Ah!
So, yeah. 30 is a really great roll. I'm not going to lie. It does beat, it actually beats the guard by a lot. You do notice that as you and
as I shout it, I'm gonna be like, as I do it, I want to shout like, I have a dumb idea.
And as you do that, as you strike into it, you're expecting to hit a very, very dense object. You've dealt with precious gems before. They are very, very dense. They will blunt blades. As you do it, you strike into it, and your blade pierces this gem, which doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to you at the time, but you realize, holy crap! And as you do that,
It wasn't a dumb idea.
wildly as you are, nature itself makes this unearthly roar, like the sound of rocks grinding against each other, and starts swinging around wildly. I do need you to make me a strength check to see if you can hold on to your hook shot as it's trying to swing you off its back. And then we will deal with the results of your attack.
Where's my strength rating?
Strength will just be under your, it'll be at the very top. I think it's the third one down on the character sheet.
Might.
Oh, might.
Sorry, might. I run like 3 different systems, guys.
And because I'm greedy, I'm also gonna use my other one.
Go for it. That's what they're there for.
Just because you guys, I have 4 hit points, and I don't want to die again.
We're trying to avoid a TPK 4 episodes in.
14.
Be good.
14 is enough. You're sitting there and you're going, you're swaying your the chain itself. You start feeling it going, and you're starting to actually see yourself get pulled away and swung a little bit further. But you hold on to your hook shot. Oh, doing that much, the first thing that you notice is that the DM has to bring up the character sheet for the creature.
That's a weird thing to notice.
What its actual card is.
That is a weird thing to
yes.
notice.
You would do 12 damage. However, as you strike this thing, you notice that it takes an extreme amount of pain, and you actually do double the amount of damage you are supposed to do.
Ooh.
So that 12 damage turns into 24.
Whatever.
And I have to do math right now. All right. And in Open Legend, if you roll 10 above their guard, which you rolled 12, you can actually inflict a Bane for free as part of the attack. So that would also use the same ability, ability score that your attack did, which is logic for you. You can inflict as part of this attack. So, what kind of Bane would you want?
Well, I have a nerve strike and a bleed out because hookshot grab will not work in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a rock monster. Like it can't really bleed. Would a nerve strike do something? Does it technically have
it
nerves?
seems like you hit a nerve.
Okay, let's do nerve strike.
Okay.
Why
go
not?
ahead and what does the nerve strike? Which Bane is that again?
It's literally called nerve strike Bane, is what I have on my character sheet.
Humana, hold please. Let's go Kestrel.
Hold me closer, tiny rock monster.
It's a rock. It doesn't have nerves.
I don't know, man.
It's gotta be the stunned. It's gotta be the stunned. So you have stunned the creature. I'm gonna assume it's or actually, what's your logic score?
My logic score is 5.
5. So you theoretically would have access to the I can't remember what it's called. Incapacitated. There we go. The incapacitated Bane, which is, I believe, what the nerve strike is. And what that does. Yeah, you can open it. Yeah, I can do all this stuff. Normally, I will in the description, I will put what the specific bane is on the character sheets that I create. So for future reference, we're going to call Nerf Strike the incapacitated bane.
Okay.
Add one to deal with. You notice that the as you hit the creature, it swings around wildly, and then it seems to almost go into a trance, and it is currently incapacitated, meaning any attack against it can actually be a lethal attack, meaning the next attack could theoretically kill it, and it is incapacitated currently from you striking at this. Is there anything else you would like to do with your turn, Kestrel? I was kind of expecting this battle to last a little bit longer.
I would also now like to shout, it wasn't a dumb idea!
All right, Pierre, you see Kestrel swinging wildly from this creature as she plunges her knife into it, and then you watch the creature itself just kind of slump over a little bit, and it's kind of like legs. It's kind of staggering a little bit. It's not acting nearly as aggressive as it has since you met it. You're not sure if maybe it's changed its diet or but it's definitely changed its mannerisms a little bit. So seeing that information and hearing Kestrel go, "It wasn't a dumb idea," what would you like to do? She's technically on the opposite side of it that you are. You just can see her from the other side of this very large creature kind of swinging on its back.
Did I see her actually do anything to that shiny thing?
You can't see the shiny thing from where you are.
But if you move around, I think my dagger's still technically in it.
Okay. I want to tell you.
You saw her swing her dagger and strike at something, and you saw the entire creature itself kind of jerk. You watched as cracks appeared all over the creature itself, struck at something. And if you would like to roll a learning check,
I will do that.
Heck yes,
it's possible you may have encountered a Talus before in your travel, or what might be going on right now.
All right, please roll well. 16.
16. No, she hit something vulnerable. You couldn't tell. You had no idea what though.
The plan is for us to sacrifice Pierre into Death Mountain? What?
It's the only way to beat it. It's the only way to beat it.
It didn't have to be by a cannon, therefore it be canon. That's a lot. We'll talk about that later. What idea did you have? Pierre's gonna yell this to Kestrel. What did you do?
There's a shiny thing and I stabbed it!
Where is it?
By me!
That doesn't help me, but sure. So Pierre still has his daggers out.
Totally helps you.
And you're right next to the creature because you just took 2 swipes at it. So you're right next to the creature. And it is large enough that you could skirt around it without too much difficulty. So if you want to get to the other side, you can.
I want to try to do something. I don't know if this is going to work. You can tell me whether or not this is going to be unrealistic.
Go for it.
What I would love to do...
I encourage creativity.
Violence. Oh.
I would like to see if I can... I would like to jump, start, getting myself onto, the rock from, the arms. Try to, jump and hit on the sides, and then try to hit from the top with both daggers. Jump, and then, Zelda to you how the down stab would be, but with the daggers. Okay.
It is very very tall. So you're talking about a 30-foot high jump to be able to do something like that. So describe to me how you would be able to reach that height. If you can give me an explanation as to how you could reach that height, I'm totally good with you doing it. As you just jumping straight in the air, you do not have that kind of you skipped enough leg days that you would not be able to do that.
But he's got wings.
But
He doesn't
again,
even need
you're
a
in the
rental.
you're in the middle of the forest. You are a bird person that I can't remember what they're called.
I'm a
Zelda.
Rito.
I almost called you an Eric
Racist.
Oh.
I'm a Rito. And not only am I a Rito, I also have this one thing, which is a flaw called bravado, which means I'm going to be dramatic as hell. So this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to try to kick off one of the trees, because I think I'm in the forest, there's trees. I'm in a boulder that's in front of me. Kick off the talus, kick off one of the trees, and then sort of go from tree to tree to tree until I get high enough that I can just jump.
So you're gonna Ronin Warriors this. I
You bet
love
your
this
ass.
idea.
Let's do it!
And
Yes,
if anybody
Raven.
gets that reference, you had an awesome childhood.
I mean, it was on Tsunami for a while, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I actually don't know. It has been some. I actually own. It is a mere, I don't know, 10 feet away from me, the entirety of this series plus the 2 OAVs, Warriors, in both Japanese and English. I am that person.
No, you're fine, man.
So what I'm gonna have you do, that's kind of, we'll call it an agility check. Go ahead and make me an agility check, see how successful you are. Go ahead and take a legend point for your bravado.
Yeah!
And I will give you advantage 1 on this for having a cool idea.
Perfect, and I already have a good score. This is gonna go well, please!
All natural ones.
16!
16. 16 is good enough. So you're able to kind of
Yeah!
dum. Again, this is kind of in your wheelhouse. You need this bravado. You must do this. So you get up as you're coming down, advantage 1 on the attack roll with your daggers, in addition to any other advantages you have, because I think you're dual wielding and
I am dual
remember
wielding
dual
now.
wielding will give you advantage 1 as well, so they add together.
Do advantage 2. Ooh. Ah, jeez. Right? Yeah.
Dealing with the aftermath of being 30 feet in the air will be the next thing you have to do, but
Ah, shit. Okay, that's fine. 29.
29.
Ha!
So, as we has previously established,
Alex White.
Alice has a guard of 18. So you love it. The Talus itself has 11 hit points currently. So I'm going to steal a line because I think it fits very, very well into Open Legends as a system, and he was actually consulted as part of the rules. Pierre, how do you want to do this? For those of you unaware, this means he has struck the killing blow on the monster, and he's going to describe what really badass way he wants to kill this creature. And then I will add my DMic flair.
Woo! Alright.
So, do this.
Alright, so I'm up in the air, right? I'm flying. I kind of want this to play out like in the slow motion. So it's like kind of the, you know how like Assassin's Creed where like it slowly goes down? And all I say, don't mess with the bird, bitches! Right into it.
Okay. So, you guys watch as Pierre starts running. Kestrel swinging wildly from the back of this creature. And Pierre sees this happening. Kestrel has mentioned that there's something there, and Pierre goes, "No, not on my watch." You can feel the entire power flowing through your veins. The training that you've had from years and years of experience of things that you have tried to forget have now taken over. Your body is acting completely on impulse. You see an opportunity. The creature itself is a little bit and has knocked against a tree. And so you sit there and you kind of kick yourself up. And as you're coming down, you're remembering the faces of people that you can no longer talk to anymore, that you can no longer spend time with, whom you used to entrust your life to. And every one of their faces flashes before your eyes as you come down, and you say that really badass thing that I've already forgotten because my memory is quite literally Swiss cheese.
Don't mess with the bird, bitch!
Don't mess with the bird, bitch. In nomine patris. And as you come down, you bring you bring both of them into Kestrel. The first thing that you notice while you're on there is the creature itself starts moving again and starts shaking wildly. You get the idea that this would be a fantastic time to get away from the creature, and knowingly you kind of flick your wrist, your hook shot disengages, and you go flying across, smacking into a tree and kind of grabbing onto a branch as you go. Pierre, as you come down on the thing, you drive both of your Ulok-like daggers into this creature, and you notice that instead of them like chipping off pieces of rock, they drive directly into the creature, and you see these kind of glow to the creature, and these cracks start, and the cracks keep going further and further and further, and then you see the entire creature just kind of explode in this shower of light and rocks and things like that, and then you are 30 feet in the air with nothing below you.
Okay, that's fine.
So
I think
the creature itself falls. Aruna, you notice immediately, because you know what, you've seen this happen once before. You know what happens when a Talus dies. A single perfect precious gem fall gracefully to the ground, as you also see a blue Rito falling slightly less gracefully from the air. I need an agility check from you, Pierre.
So
see how you land.
While they were, dealing massive damage and killing it, I was still running full charge to the Talus, ready. And as I was running, I was calling out, guys, there's a weak spot on the, and then it just, falls.
This could be bad. I rolled a 7.
So as you sit there, you sit there and you pull your earlocks out, and you kind of let out this bestial rage like yelp. And you're like, oh shit, and you hit hard.
Oh god.
You guys watch as he falls 30 feet in the air and hits the ground in a crumpled mess. I do not have my dice out.
This is gonna knock me out, ain't it?
It's theoretically possible.
Oh jeez. Well, had a good run.
You take 6 points of damage as you hit the ground.
Cool, I was at 4, so I'm out.
So you guys watch as he just falls and then is rendered unconscious as he hits the ground. So he's now kind of in a crumpled mess on the ground, but he is breathing. He doesn't look like anything is broken or anything like that. It just looks like this final blow that he struck ground at that kind of velocity was not the greatest for him, so it is just rendered him unconscious. Aruna, you still have momentum as you are running towards it. So theoretically, it's you and Zulta's turn, and Zulta is still kind of but shocked that she didn't get to strike the final blow. How powerful that she is. So she is in stunned silence, just kind of watching, a little bit
for the nerd
miffed.
and the bard. Oh yeah.
The nerd and the bard.
So,
So Aruna, you technically it is your turn.
Yeah.
We're no longer in initiative.
Yeah.
Technically it is your turn.
I was just gonna be running until that sort of happened. Slow down once it hits the ground. See Pierre just fall and collapse.
But crumple and fall.
But I'm pretty sure he fell on top of the gem that I saw as well. So
no, he didn't actually. The gem itself.
Do I know that
is
though?
about 10 feet away. You saw both hit the ground.
That's unfortunate.
You saw the gem hit and it bounced away, and you saw Pierre hit and
yeah. Well,
so
then I'm gonna promptly ignore Pierre.
But you get the idea from this Rito that Rito don't bounce.
Yeah.
Like that is what you have learned from this. Gems do bounce, Rito don't bounce.
Gotcha. Well, if they're not in the same spot, I will temporarily ignore the Rito and check out the gym.
Wow! Rude!
So
Y'all are the
you
worst.
head over to the gem. The gem itself.
I at least loosened it for you, okay?
The gem itself is a raw gem, so it or anything like that, but it does have quite a few facets that look to be polished and things like that, just because of the nature of how taluses are. That their cores, raw gems, look and have a similar appearance to a cut gem in certain places. And as you look at it, Elias, I actually don't know what a stone talus. Like, there is a specific gem that a stone talus.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them.
I actually don't know what it is.
They can
Okay.
drop opal, topaz, sapphire, ruby, and diamond. With
I'm going to call this a sapphire because I really like.
Wow.
So the one you
And flint, I guess.
you have dealt with one before. I believe it was a diamond that the last one dropped.
Last one was a diamond. Yeah.
A sapphire. So it was this blue.
Yeah.
You know, very, very nice gem. If you were to get into the hands of a skilled gem crafter, of a whole lot of trouble cutting it into a perfectly cut gem. It is already partially cut and shiny and pretty looking. But there are some raw where it doesn't gleam quite as brightly.
Gotcha. Well, okay. So I'm gonna check out the gem, inspect it based on the gems we worked with at Goron City there, and determine.
Go ahead and make me a learning check.
Yeah, let's do that. Learning. Yeah. Nope.
As you take out your gem wheel, as your friend is.
You know what? I'm gonna use.
You people are the freaking worst.
I'm gonna use.
I have not moved.
My special legend point
you're fine.
for this.
So we will get to you in just a second, Kestrel. I promise.
I'm gonna use my.
Because this is all happening very, very quickly as you're flying through the air.
I'm gonna use my special legend point for this to give me advantage.
Because that's
The episode where all the legend points get used.
Well, you know.
That is 16.
We can get more.
That's
also,
fine.
Four hit points, man.
And so what were you trying to learn about it again?
I was just trying to just validate my opinion that it's of lesser value to me than a diamond would be. Not like monetarily value, but the other kind of value.
Yeah, most definitely. However, you're still talking about, which for your people like this still would have, without giving away your backstory to everyone, the situation that you're thinking of, this still would have been useful.
Okay.
Not as useful as a diamond. This still would have been useful. This gem, it still has different properties for you than it might for Kestrel or Pierre.
Okay. Then I will take the time to determine that, pocket it, and then begin walking over to Pierre.
All right. So while he's doing that, Kestrel, you're like, ooh, as you kind of a branch hits you right in the midsection. And stops your momentum, and you kind of swing with the branch for a little bit. You hear this kind of starts to crack.
Come
and you
on.
immediately shift your weight to prevent the branch itself from breaking from your momentum. Again, understanding momentum very, very well from the accidents using your hook shot. And so you can feel that the branch itself is probably not going to support your weight for very long, just because of the impact, but it is not.
No, I get what you're saying. I get it. You're making a crack about my weight. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
For the lulz. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Imply the DM is cracking about your weight. That's a great. There is
Suddenly another talus emerges.
Disadvantage. And then a Linnell come down.
Oh, we're fucked.
All right, I heard that.
So yeah, no, you're fine right now, but you think you probably want to get either to a different branch or to the ground relatively
How
quickly.
far am I from the ground?
You're about 20 feet up right now.
Okay.
Well within reach of your hook shot if you wanted to kind of Spider-Man your way down, or you can climb down that's a tree. So.
Yeah, let's just less Spider-Man than before, because
Okay.
if it breaks, I would like my feet to hit first, not my head.
I am going to have you roll me a logic check, just to see, not solely based on what you're doing right now, but because of your hook shot has recently gone through, just to see how well it's holding up right now.
Okay. 8. Shit.
Okay. So as you sit there, you hear this. You start kind of lowering yourself down, and as you're about 10 feet off the ground, you hear this, and then, and you fall the remaining distance, and you notice that your hook shot is broken. It is not beyond repair or anything like that. Something like, things like this do happen from time to time, but it will require a logic check to fix. And falling does have you take 2 points of damage.
All right, I'm still alive and still conscious.
So
But-
yeah, your hook shot is now not automatically retracting. It is, it is effectively, unless you want to swing the chain at somebody, until you have about like 10-15 minutes to sit down with it and figure out exactly what mechanism is broken in it. You know the internal workings very well.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a oof with the hit, and then look at the hook shot and no! I'm okay. Look over at them. Is he alive?
I'm pretty sure.
From where you
too
are,
far to be able to
you
see.
flew far enough. You actually can't tell. You
No,
just
that's what
see a
I mean.
crumpled
It's
body.
like yelling at Elias.
Oh.
Is like, is he alive? Because I can't. There's no way I can see him breathing from this far away.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who Elias is, but he
No.
looks like he's alive.
God damn it, Elias!
And I'm gonna sort of
And
just.
Elias's character Aruna. Assy pants.
Aruna's just gonna like pick up Pierre, up here, and try to shake him awake with the presence heal.
Oh God. Okay.
Go for it.
I don't even, I think.
We'll pray that baby. No, I'm not even gonna go. I'm not gonna make that joke. That is a joke you are not making, Jody.
I'm glad we just saw that. That was a great. No, we saw a joke. Then nope.
No.
Repressed.
That will get hate mail.
9.
Please remember to send all hate mail to @TrainerJodie.
No.
No.
So
I don't think 9 beats the
in
DC.
Open Legend, every roll counts. Never want a roll to feel like it was wasted or anything like that. So instead of outright failing, the overall rule of Open Legend is can be if you do fail, generally you don't just, oh, well, the roll is wasted and blah, blah, always occurs because of it. And if it fails, it could be that you succeed, but with a twist.
Oh God.
It could be that you fail, but you progress the story further in some way. And in this particular instance, as you're sitting there shaking him, Pierre, you are unconscious. You are, kind of seeing, you're reliving some of the more horrid moments from your life.
Great.
As you're unconscious.
Great.
And suddenly you feel a rumble in the ground, and you see in front of you a giant mechanical foot slamming into the ground. You see people flying away from it, flying through the air lifelessly, and you feel the ground beneath you shake and rumble, so much so that your entire body is shaking back and forth, and you immediately assume that this is the end for you, that you're done with this, but you're ready. And then in front of you is this Goron that you're not really used to seeing, and he has you and he's shaking you and it hurts. And so your instant reaction is to take a swipe at him with one of your daggers.
Oh!
And I need you to
fair.
make an attack roll against Aruna as you are woken up. Aruna, go ahead and roll your healing.
Yes.
Yeah. Roll your healing.
Oh, jeez.
I have healing.
I need to...
Well, the healing worked. The result with a twist is he's, again, reacting on instinct right now.
Someone is counting as healing?
Hit points in general are not in Open Legend, for those of you watching, and the players themselves. Hit points themselves are not like directly tied to like the amount of blood in your body like they would be in D&D or something like that. Your will to keep going. So you can kind of inspire someone to keep going, or you can give them a reason to continue to fight or continue to move forward or something like that. That's how you can use presence, the presence category, to actually use the healing cantrip. Or not cantrip,
cool.
Boon.
That makes more sense.
So, yes, hit points. I don't think hit points is much like...
Jodie.
He is actually in kind of inspiring Pierre to wake up again. And to continue going.
I inspire in my own way.
The smart way to do it. I just said he was doing it.
Okay, fair.
So how many hit points do you heal?
3.
3. So you now have 3 hit points. And again, go ahead and make your attack against him.
15.
What is that against?
Guard?
Guard.
Suck it. Guard 16.
So you sit there, and the first thing he does is he immediately gets
kind of dazed.
daggers. You don't know where these daggers came from. He was not carrying them for the short amount of time that you've known him. Daggers. And suddenly, both of them are digging into your very hard rock-like back. And so as they sit there, they don't really pierce your thick hide, but you definitely feel the presence of 2 piercing items placed in your back. As he's sitting there just like... Urgh! And then you realize that this is Aruna. You're not on the battlefield right now. And Aruna is just kind of looking at you and kind of like things, because he has 2 uncomfortable things in his back right now.
Are you okay?
Maybe don't shake me like that. Thanks.
Well, you were like on the ground and not responsive, so I just wanted to make you responsive. And I'm going to try to separate him more and pluck the daggers with him and set him on the ground.
Yeah. So it doesn't take too long for you to kind of take them out. Like again, they didn't even really pierce that hard. It was more like you were getting poked in the back.
Yeah.
You sit there, you set him down, and Pierre, you look around and you see rubble everywhere. And you do remember when you were in the air first, you saw this sparkling blue object that was brilliant. Brilliant enough that it actually kind of, which is one of the reasons why you didn't quite brace yourself for the landing like you normally would. Being a very experienced flyer and everything like that, you've fallen many times. It's part of learning to fly. And so this very bright gem that you saw appear as this creature kind of broke apart, you don't see it anywhere around you currently.
What? There was a blue thing. What happened to that?
The sapphire?
You do notice You do realize at this point you are still holding your ulaks.
Oh God! And I realized that I'm like, oh, sorry. Shh. Take them out. I put them in one hand, and then I reach to the back, get my accordion, and then sort of slide them back in and lock them.
And
That's
you guys
really
notice that now he has his accordion out, and you watch these knives disappear into the accordion to the point where, looking at it, you can't see a break or anything like that. The knives have simply disappeared into the accordion, and now he again.
That's really cool.
Yes.
They
Thank you.
were less cool when they were in my back, but they're more cool now that they've disappeared into the accordion.
Right. Sorry. I mean, in fairness, you were shaking me very violently, and first thing I do when you wake up from someone violently shaking you is you have to defend yourself. So. You did kind of. You should have seen that coming, maybe a little. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. Turn to Kess. Hey, he's okay. Oh, but your hook shot's not, or your thing's not. Sorry.
Yeah. Aruna knows all.
Sorry.
Plot twist alert.
I'm not supposed to. I made the hook shot.
Aruna is actually Link, guys. I'm just gonna.
Oh my God!
I take the mask
and
off.
Now Nintendo has copyright claimed this video.
Thanks for watching.
It was a great run. We lasted 4 seasons.
4 seasons. Every episode was a season. That's correct.
Gonna end up being like Star Trek.
Kestrel, you see Aruna and Pierre right now. Aruna goes, "Yeah, he's okay." You did see Pierre, like as he woke up, stab these very strange-looking knives. You've never seen knives quite like them. The handle itself, the hand you watch as the blade actually wraps around like that. So it's kind of like, while holding it in like a traditional grip, like you sometimes hold your dagger, it has the effect of being able to use it as if it were in a reverse grip, and having a very long kind of curved cutting surface, so it can be used for slashing as well as stabbing. Unlike a traditional dagger where you can slash with it, it does have an edge, but they're primarily made for stabbing. So it's a very unique kind of weapon. You've never seen one before like it, and then watching it just disappear into the accordion. Again, you understand mechanical things. You understand how things work, and you can't understand where the blades went. Like, there wasn't a space for them to disappear into this accordion. So after that's done, you see Meacham come out. He is bloodied incredibly. You can see his lip is split, cuts, and you can see a little bit of blood on his side. He looks really, really rough, but alive. You see the other 3 hunters, including the one that used the smelling salts on you, have come forward, and they're all have this look of like astonishment as they're looking at the 4 of you. Zulta is uncharacteristically quiet at this point, having very nearly experienced a life-ending event. She is that not only was she able to do this, but everyone survived. No one is dead. Meacham comes up and he's like, "That was probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen anyone do. You were also the first group of adventurers I've ever seen take down a talus on your own. I think we've done enough here to justify our patrol. Hunters!" And he turns to the rest of them. It's time for us to go. He turns to you guys. You can follow, or you can leave. I'm fairly certain you'll be fine out here without us. And then he kind of holds his side. You see the kid that was using the sword and shield that he used the smelling salts in you, Kestrel. As soon as he says this, you see him start to kind of collapse, and the kid immediately gets underneath his arm and kind of helps him walk direction towards the village. The other two hunters kind of look at you, and some of them kind of looks at you in a way, Kestrel, you're very used to being looked at, kind of almost like a freak kind of thing. And the other one kind of looks at you both and gives a little bit of smile and a wink at you, Kestrel, and then waits to see to that. And then he immediately turns towards Zulta and gives a smile and a wink. And Zulta is not having it all. She's just like, she just has this look of, how can you have the gall? And you see her start moving towards him as lightning is flashing in her fingertips.
Zulta!
Oh!
And as you kind of grab her vertically, she kind of realizes what she was about to do and go, thank you very much for the aid you provided, however unneeded it was. Enjoy the rest of your day. And walks off. Not very far, but away from the person that has just smiled and winked at her. And you see him just sit there and go, had to try, and walks off. Seems like a very confident kind of guy.
I hurt.
There wasn't anything malicious in his wink and smile. He's just like,
No.
I mean, no. This is why I was like, no, I'm good. Like,
It's fine.
I'm really in a lot of pain.
Iruna is slightly disappointed that he also didn't get a wink. But then sort of...
It's a Hylian thing.
But then sort of
Well,
turns to the group and says, should we go with them for more numbers, or where do we go? Try to go straight back to Kakariko.
And this is actually the first time you've heard the name of your village mentioned.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was
with the
like,
rest of them. So it does perk your ears a little bit. That apparently they're echo. And you know, to your knowledge, it's kind of an out-of-the-way village that does its best to not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that a Goron, who technically lives on the other side of the world, or the kingdom at least, is a little bit startling, because you've never seen a Goron trader come to your village ever.
Yeah.
In your life. So, just to mechanics to you guys, and to the audience at home, the way hit points works is if you get about 5 minutes between combat to kind of, patch yourself up and stuff like that, your hit points are turned to full. So if you guys want to take 5, well, that was going to be my question. If you guys want to just sit, you can have a conversation while using yourself up, checking for bumps and bruises and stuff like that. Checking to see if there's any kind of permanent damage that you would need more like medical attention for. If you guys want to take that time right now, you because of the battle, you are in a clearing now. There didn't used to be a clearing here, but a giant rock monster took care of that. You have good visibility out to at least probably 150 to 200 feet in every direction, and then it becomes more heavily wooded. So if anything were to come anything dangerous were to start heading toward, have a fair amount of warning.
Could I also take this time to repair my baby? Okay.
I am going to need
I'm
you
not
to
going
make...
into battle without it.
I'm going to make you... I'm going to need a logic check. Because you guys watch her as she's kind of talking to you guys. She starts taking apart this thing, and she has this set of bizarre looking tools that you none of you guys have seen before. Pierre, look somewhat familiar because you dealt with engineers and things like that previously, but they are unique enough that they are not completely recognizable.
I'm extremely interested in this entire process.
I am also interested in this process.
So I rolled a 22 on my logic.
Okay. So that's more than enough to repair it. As you sit there and you're kind of breaking it apart, and you're looking and you're noticing, you know, the spring mechanism kind of jumped off its gauge, and so the coiled spring in there has uncoiled, and so you have to kind of recoil it and connect it and do all these other things. After about like 20 or 30 seconds of taking it apart and kind of diagnosing it, you notice that you are now kind of the center of the attention for the group, because both Aruna and Pierre are waiting as you are fixing this. How would you like to react to kind of the relatively close scrutiny, especially from Aruna, to really... Like he's
shadow,
not hiding it at all.
There's like a shadow cast
over
like looking over
right at it.
Subtlety, not something you're in a specialty.
Yeah.
So given
Pierre, I'll give you the choice of whether or not you want to be more overt in your glances.
Be subtle.
But I know enough, and I know Elias well enough.
Given my own PTSD with how things were treated when I was doing things with mechanical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of look up, and this is the first time they've acted like that, and this is the first time this world has seemed slightly kind of like mine. Of okay.
What?
So, are you going to continue fixing it while they're watching you? Are you going to?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if they decide,
are you going to try and go? Excuse me, can I have a little? Like
no, it's just that thought of I just want to like, is this not okay? While still trying to kind of look at it, because if I can get it fixed and they are like, no, it's not okay, I can go, okay, bye, boom.
No,
okay.
I'm just curious because you're fixing your thing and I have my own thing, and I sort of show her my blast basher.
So he takes out what looks kind of similar to a brass knuckles. To where it would fit over a hand much larger than yours. The contraption connected to it that looks like it holds, not only does it hold some sort of receptacle, but it has kind of a device to, it looks almost foreseen, you probably haven't, but you're aware of the firing pin in a gun or something like that. There's like a point in the middle of this thing, or does something to whatever connects to this item. Do you currently have a bomb attached to your blast basher?
I used it.
I'm not sure if you
the first thing in the Talos fight. So
okay.
It's empty.
And a burrito magically appears.
Oh no!
There's actually a burrito loaded in the blast basher. That's how I eat lunch.
I was actually speaking with monks. I'm staying with monks, which is why a hooded figure brought me this.
Hey, it's on brand.
I'm sorry, you guys.
It's on brand.
It works.
Sorry.
So yeah, you see, again, it's a very interesting device. It's much more blunt and kind of unrefined than something that you would design. Without any context, or you would have context. You actually watched him use it. You watched him literally punch into the Talus when you first started fighting it. So you assume that's how this worked, and that kind of gets your brain working as to how the mechanism itself works and everything like that. It's a little bit more complicated than you can understand without taking it apart, but it's technology, and it is Goron technology, and it's a form of technology you have never dealt with before.
Okay.
Because in Sheikah technology, and technology in general has this really bad stigma around it, and so you've never seen the technology of another culture. Magic is generally what everybody uses, and they've replaced technology with magic, and so seeing another culture's technology is exciting to you a little bit.
Yes. little bit.
So you sit there, and as he's showing off this device that you want more than nothing else to just kind of rip off of his hand and start taking apart, you hear a ch-ch-ch-choom, and the hook shot jams back into place. You put the covering plate back onto it, and the device looks to be working on currently. So looks to be back in full working order. Again, because it's kind of a homemade item, of weird things happening to it, but you've got it working the way you want it to.
Cool. So set that down or reattach it to hip, and then, because absolute fangirling over, oh my god, someone's showing me technology and it's okay for, oh my god, just literally just kind of trembling, going, can I see that?
You're seeing it now.
No, but can I see it?
Like, hold it?
Yeah.
Don't break it like you broke your thing, though, because it took me a long time to figure out, and I don't want it to break, because it breaks sometimes already, and I don't like it to break more often than that. So just promise you won't break it.
I won't break it, I promise.
Okay, and I'll just drop it into her arms.
It's heavy. It is remarkably heavy.
It brings Kess to the floor.
Even with you being kind of a very kind of wiry, kind of lithe woman, from the fact that you're and you're very used, like, you are surprised at the weight of this item, and you instantly realize, well, it's built for something much larger than I am, so obviously it's going to be much heavier than it looks. A little bit more, you realize this is a kind of technology that if you were to spend a while studying it, you might be able to understand it, but you would need to take it apart. Like, this is a lot, something that you pop an item onto and you punch with it to make a bomb explode. This is very well crafted, and has intricate workings than you were expecting. This, especially the brief amount of time that you spent with Aruna, he has not come off to you as like the intellectual type. Like, he just simply has not done anything thus far that has given you this feeling that, but looking at this and the fact that he created this, you have a newfound respect for his technological abilities.
Did he create it? Because he just said it took him a while to figure it out, so it didn't sound like he had created it.
I'll let you kind of interpret it. That is what he said. And all you really can tell is this is technology that is very different from any of the Sheikah tech studied. It is a completely different kind of form of technology, and would take you could probably something like this with enough time, but again, it would require taking it apart, and because you don't actually understand the technology, it's not, you're going to put it back together.
That's fair.
It's there's as good a chance of you breaking this when you take it apart as there is of you learning how it works.
Oh yeah. No, then that's fair.
From looking it over, it is very intricately designed. Whoever did create it was a fairly skilled crafter, or kind of tinkerer. You do get kind of a homemade feel from it, because again, you've homemade your own stuff. Your hookshot is homemade, so you do see that there are some things that are, aimed metal or anything like that. There are some pieces that look like they're roughly cut and stuff like that, but it is much more intricate than it looks at first glance.
Okay. So after examining that, holding it back up and being like, is this common where you're from?
No, it's the only one, unless someone else made one.
So excited.
Can you pick this up at Walmart?
Well.
Who said that? What's Walmart?
What is this mysterious voice?
So I'm gonna offer it back up to Aruna, since it's getting very hard to not want to take it apart to find out how it ticks. I know myself. Be like, the next time it breaks, can I watch you fix it?
I think that's fair because you let me watch you fix your thing. So sure.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it
if
doesn't
I show
break
you
though.
mine, will you show me yours?
Pretty much.
No one's gonna read into that at all.
You don't understand where I come from. This is banned. Wait.
Where do you come from?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Let's talk about that.
Oh, I didn't see you there, Pierre. But yeah.
I have been here. I have been here. I'm just
excuse me. I'm here as well.
Yeah, there's other guys left.
Glad
though.
you're all having fun, but I'm still here. You hear Zolta in the background.
There's other guys left though, so we should probably, once we're done here, just head to Kakariko, I guess, if that's what you guys want.
What? What's it like?
What? Kakariko Village?
Yeah.
Well, I
Because
explained this.
I'm aware at this point that we are not in our normal world.
You
I
don't
assume-
know.
I
You
mean,
know
the way
things
people
are
have treated me, and we saw the guy. There's
something.
clearly something magical going.
I'm gonna let you roll a learning check. Go ahead and roll me a learning check.
Because this is.
Wow.
See if you.
There's
Or actually,
so many
no. I'm actually going
differences.
to this a logic instead of learning, because this is you literally trying to figure out a puzzle.
Because the
While she's
way
doing that.
that people have treated all these things that are so intrinsic to my basic
If
knowledge. I
anyone
rolled a
in-
22 again.
If anyone is wondering what this means, this is their out of character.
This
I'm
started
talking
at
out of character sign.
a D&D session so many years ago. I can't remember which, but it got too confusing. So we were like, wait, was that in character or out of character? So we just started doing those.
That's what that means, audience.
It means something
I-
different
our
from my
lovely audience.
childhood.
So
mean,
the 22
yes.
logic,
Uh,
you, to be perfectly honest, you don't know.
Okay.
Something is different. People are treating you differently.
I
But-
feel justified in asking that question then, because it seems
Yeah.
like I can be like test the waters of, is this
Mhm.
my world? Is this my
you
Kakariko village?
probably would not have made the
Fair.
jump to that yet. But you do know something is different. The world outside your village, because again, everybody you know has always lived in Kakariko.
Maybe
Um,
there's another Kakariko that I don't know about.
Or maybe the world outside the village is not the way it's been described to you
This is fair.
by your family.
This is
Like
this is
again,
all
you
fair.
have such limited. You have always avoided other people. So in that realm of, do I not understand how the world works, or is the world
Yeah.
not working the way it's supposed to?
Okay.
You're torn between those two ideas.
So yeah, I'm gonna. What's so why Kakariko Village? What's it like? What's so special about that place? Squint.
Well, I've only been there once, but like I told Zolta earlier, actually right after you ran off for some reason, do you know what a village is?
Yes.
Okay.
Many people know what a village is, Aruna.
And do you know? Well, I guess you know what a Sheikah is because I'm pretty sure you're a Sheikah. So it's like a Sheikah village. So it's just some houses. I think there's a shop there. No, there's definitely a shop there. Some grass.
There's also pretty decent food too.
Some chickens. Lots of great rocks. There's rocks all around it, really tall.
One of the other things you would also know, Aruna, because of your trading background, the interactions that you had there, wasn't enough people, but they are a secretive people, and you do know.
Okay.
While they're not like outright, camouflaging the city or anything like that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean but
they were very pleasant.
Okay. I mean,
so there's like
they're kind of they keep to themselves, but they're nice.
But they're
kind of like you, actually. That makes a lot of sense the more I think about it.
But they're openly Sheikah?
I don't know what that means, but maybe.
Fair.
Sure. Okay. I'm honestly trying to remember what the decision was. We went to go to Kakariko Village.
It's the closest kind of major civilization point where you are.
Okay, because I was thinking
you guys were looking for some kind of handle on what was going on, and that was it was literally the closest village or settlement near you guys. So you were going to head there first simply because in villages and settlements that you're not going to find beds to sleep in and safety from things like talus and linnels and things like that. So
Gotcha.
You were simply going there, the closest safe place, and weird stuff has been happening. So
gotcha, because I just spent the last 5 minutes going, what? Wait, where were we going? Why are we going here again? I can't remember. Oh, God.
We also figured that's where Kestrel might have ran off to, but that's a moot point at this point, I think.
Yeah. Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
When you ran away, you went in the direction of Kakariko because that was just the natural direction you would have gone to hide yourself. Okay. Because you know that area much better than anywhere else and could hide much better there. So.
Okay. Well, I would like to see this village. If we're still planning on. That's I'm kind of hungry after nearly dying twice, and
maybe we should eat more of that rock stew at the outpost on our way back. Oh, you didn't have any of it. Oh, it's really good.
No, she didn't have any.
Rock stew?
Yeah,
and I turned to Pierre and was like, is it actual rocks? Is he trying to get us to eat actual rocks?
They didn't have the rocks.
No, that we got food, and apparently it's spices for Gorons that they throw rocks into everything. Because apparently rocks is a specialty. I don't know.
It's pretty common, actually. There's rocks everywhere. But yeah.
Yes, I can see. We just fought one.
Oh yeah.
So what, would you have eaten the rock that tried to kill us all?
As he says that, I go back to the talus rubble and pocket a few of those rocks.
Okay.
You
would know from experience. Talus in general, not the most nourishing meal.
Never mind.
You can eat it.
Eat it.
I figured it'd be like butchering a cow or something, but nope. Okay.
Yeah, Talus would not really be a creature that the Goron would actively hunt for food.
Okay.
And with the fact that they are kind of warped by magical beings, the rocks themselves would have a kind of magic aftertaste to it.
Yeah.
So
it's not great. It's not.
4 out of 10.
So he starts to walk over, pocket some rocks, remembers that he tried this the last talus.
Like you could eat a wolf. Like wolf meat is edible.
Excuse me.
but it's not, you know,
And then when I remember that,
anyone has ever hunted as a game animal.
You're saying it's a bit gamey?
Ah!
Wow. So yeah, as he remembers that, he just plops them back out and sprinkles them back. And
I'll give
back.
a legend point for a pun of that quality. Sure. I'm a very pun friendly DM. So you guys are now feeling better. You're still you still feel the effects of battle and stuff like that. You're still bruised and stuff like that. But you're enough that you could definitely, you know, get a move on if you guys wanted to. You can stay longer in this area. You know, again, roughly like 10 minutes has passed. You could probably very easily catch up with the hunters again. But at the place that you are now, especially since Aruna, you would know this just because you, from, again, traveling all over, you kind of have a mental map of the world. You know that if you head back towards the encampment that you guys were at before, you're actually going to be moving away from Kakariko Village. You guys are kind of now in between them, with the settlement being to the north and Kakariko being to the south. So,
actually, I just remembered that the settlement is that way, and Kakariko's like the other way. So,
are you pointing when you're saying this?
I'm definitely using my thumb. Do you not see that?
No.
Oh. Well, I point further that way, and then further this way.
Good.
So,
Zulta seems awkwardly quiet because I've run out of Zulta things to say.
Zulta, you seem awkwardly quiet.
Is that
and she will have a response to that when she's back in the next episode.
Yay!
I'm waiting for the angry email from Ilea. That's what I'm waiting for.
Alea's gonna watch this. She's gonna be like, "Oh my god, yo, what is this going? What's going on?" Hey.
So we were tracking a thing that doesn't exist that Zolta seemed very inclined towards, and kind of was claiming she didn't know.
We obviously have destroyed a creature that could have killed everyone in that village. If we had not been here, those hunters obviously would not have been able to take out that creature themselves.
I get that. I accept that. Albeit a little bruised.
You seem.
Are we still gonna go look for this thing that you said doesn't exist, but you clearly want to still go after? Or...
I was here to protect the hunters. Had I not been here, they would all be dead. I think that is fairly obvious from what now that there is no longer any danger, I feel no need to protect them anymore.
I mean, there's always danger.
Okay, see, this is very inconsistent. You know what? I don't care. Let's go to Kakariko.
Oh, okay.
I would like to say something, but I'm not going to because I would be very shady.
What do you want to say?
You seem to be very. Seems like you like this thing that you have a lot of input in what you just did. Meanwhile, I think Kestrel and I did most of the work.
Wait, yeah, that's right.
I'm not gonna lie. I got really scared there at the beginning. I'm not really sure
Like,
why.
Aruna ran off. You did something with your hands that was flashy and really pretty, but didn't do anything. And
I turned
we did
part of that creature into molten rock. If you would like, I can show you exactly how I did it.
I'm gonna turn to Pierre and be like, "Wait, are you made of rocks too?"
I just give Aruna a look
that way.
You guys are starting to realize that she's starting to take this a little bit personally.
I think we should talk and walk while we walk. towards.
Please don't kill Aaliyah's character when she's not here. I really like Aaliyah. Like, she and I are we're friends
honestly,
at one point.
Honestly, if we were gonna 1v1, Aaliyah's character would kick the crap out of Pierre, so I'm okay with that. Let's be honest, she's got like lightning powers. I have knives. It's not even a fair fight. Yeah, so give her that look of just like, it's whatever. You believe what you believe, and then I start walking. I guess alongside Kestrel.
Kakariko is that way.
Okay.
We take the hit.
It takes you guys better part of 4 hours to get to the edge of Kakariko Village.
Oh, wow.
Again, it was going to be a full day's travel from Hyrule Field, and you guys kind of got stopped by the settlement there. So we get there. Aruna, again, you've been here once before. Not a whole lot has changed. It's only been probably a couple of months since the last time you were here. Yes. Kiri.
Oh, I was gonna say, like,
you were
is there
waving at
anything
me.
glaringly different that I would notice?
That was actually what I was going to
just
get to.
Here, like,
As you come in, the buildings themselves, like you immediately, a bit of nostalgia because again, you're home. You know, this is where you've grown up. The buildings themselves are the same, but one thing you notice immediately as you walk, people kind of turn to look at you. No one seems openly hostile or anything, but they are a little bit confused. They see Aruna and they kind of smile. But one thing you notice, there are probably just in the first group of people that you view of maybe like 12.5 people kind of wandering around the town, you see about 6 or 7 of them have red eyes. And that's something, remember, there being 6 or 7 people with red eyes in the village, in the entirety of the village.
Yeah, that was something
much
that
less
got me in trouble quite often, was my red eyes.
That many in there. And they're not wearing scarves or anything like that. You actually can see a few of them are wearing clothes that actually have the Sheikah emblem on it. Not like prominently or anything like that. But you see it displayed in certain places. Then that is another thing that as your first reaction to it is instantly to hide your scarf, because your reflex is anytime you see that symbol, that means shadow stalkers are there using it as proof of why they are detaining someone. And so it is both welcoming and alien at the exact same time, and it's a very ambivalent kind of feeling that you get here. And again, that feeling that something is wrong in the world is kind of emphasized in the fact that you're not 100% your home, and yet it is your home. You know this, and yet it's not.
So
and it's very confusing.
As we pass certain people, I'm gonna kind of like, my pace sort of slows a little bit, so I'm more in the middle of the group rather than leading us forward, of just kind of be a little more out of sight.
Which is very possible with a very large Goron.
I want to take in things more.
So as you guys come in, one person kind of comes forward, and he's a taller gentleman, darker skin and red eyes. Obviously someone that works outside a lot, as you can see, kind of rough hands and everything. And he comes up and goes, "Well, Aruna, I was see you back so soon. Do you have more wares to trade?"
Not a lot, but I have some friends here that wanted to check out the village. Well, they're like day friends. You know how like you meet someone at the beginning of the day and they're sort of your friends for that day until they decide to leave you. Those kind of friends. But this is Pierre and Zolta and Kestrel, and they wanted to see Kakariko, so I took him here.
Oh, well, he kind of turns the rest to you. My name is Colin. I actually have a smithy over there. Nice to meet you all, I guess. Aruna, as you know, we tend to prefer our privacy, if at all. So have well, I'm sorry, miss. And he kind of not really pushes past, but goes past Aruna and goes directly to Kestrel. I'm sorry, I don't believe I was unaware of any other Sheikah settlements outside of Kakariko. What's your name?
And I'm kind of freaked out about this.
Well, not only
Very
that,
confused.
you know him.
I do? Oh, shit!
You don't remember him with red eyes.
Oh, shoot,
but he's unmistakable. You know, they're in your town. His parents, one of his parents was full Sheikah, and the other one was Hylian. You know that a bit older than you. And that the reason that, well, you're understanding the reason that he runs the smithy, it was actually his mother, who was of actual Sheikah descent, and she was caught by shadow stalkers, and so he basically inherited the smithy. But you grew up with him. Like you weren't friends or anything because you didn't.
I didn't have
really.
friends.
Yeah. Aww.
Sad
I
face.
was the weird, like one of very few red-eyed Sheikah, not completely like very.
But he wasn't.
Still. He wasn't a dick to me, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the kids that regularly sought you out to make you feel bad about your eyes. And again, he had hazel eyes the last time you saw him.
Okay.
Colin, I just told you her name was Kestrel.
Oh, I'm very, very sorry. I was taken aback by, it's just very rare for us to meet new Sheikah. Impa will probably
like this little strained laugh of like you're fucking telling me.
She goes, Impa will probably wish to meet you. I can take you to Impa if you would prefer. I mean, eventually everyone that comes to town speaks with her. I mean, she is the one that protects us. She's the one that founded this village. Definitely want to meet you, but if you have other tasks, I mean, the inn is that way if you'd like a good meal. I can help you with this. There's really not much for me to do in the smithy today. Our hunters are out currently getting food for the village, so they tend to be the ones that is, to be honest. So, are you all right, miss?
Yeah, I'm fine. Courage is totally great. Food. I think we need food.
Certainly.
Yes.
Then I will take you to the inn. And you see him just kind of he kind of presents his arm, both you and his other arm, to Zulta, and Zulta automatically kind of takes it because it's a very formal thing to do. She takes it not so much as like a hug, but no, in like a very kind of.
I'm being escorted.
Yes, of course you would escort me. Obviously.
This queen
and so
right
she does that, and he kind of, he offers his hand to you as well. Not as like a romantic thing, just simply as a sign of respect.
Hess just kind of shakes her head and plays. No, I prefer to have both hands.
And so he's taken, and as he's walking through, he's like, well, this is This is the village. Again, we would ask, we do prefer our privacy, so if you'd be kind enough that once you leave, you don't kind of brag a village that you visited, as much as the, well, we won't mention them, but as much as we all, well,
it's like, wait, like who? We won't mention them. Who?
the ones who sided with the enemy. As much as they did put a stain on our reputation, we know that there are many good people who would prefer that those that are not quite as inclined to understand the difference between them and us not know where we are.
So, this village is in hiding.
We do not hide as much as not call attention to ourselves.
So not everything's changed.
However, you are welcome as long as you bear no ill will towards us.
No, of course not.
You
No,
are welcome here.
Okay.
Again, I'm fascinated to hear your story, Miss Castro. Again, it has been so long since I've actually left the village. No need to. That I'm interested to hear of other settlements, other villages out there, whether you've had to deal with some of the prejudices that somewhat forced us to band together and live here in seclusion. The world, especially with what happened during the Great Calamity, the world a giving place. And I hope you find Kakariko Village to not be that way. We've worked very, very hard to environment of acceptance and support here. It does not exist everywhere.
Well,
Yeah.
And as he's doing this, he's kind of
Nice
he's pointing out various landmarks and things like that. It's like, oh, that's it's a bakery. They have fantastic scones. They're simply in here. They actually purchase scones from the bakery to serve with their food because they are so well made. It's phenomenal. You'll have to have them when. Please do not worry about the cost of your meal. It will be on me. You are guests here. We should, lay out for you. And as they're going past, he actually points at your house, Kestrel, as you're going past. Yes, that's actually one of the oldest families living here. They're fantastic, lovely people there. They have, two sons that one of them is actually training to be a hunter. He's out actually hunting right now with the hunters, and the other one a little bit younger. He hasn't quite figured out what he wants to do with his life yet. But he has such a curiosity about him. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man. And I'm going to have to ask because I, again, Swiss cheese memory.
Do you need
what was the name? What was the names of your parents? Did you? I can't remember if you actually wrote that.
Okay, I did. I'm gonna put it in the thing.
Okay.
Because there's certain stuff that my character doesn't know that they shouldn't know.
I turned to Pierre.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm just like,
so very quietly, I don't know if he's gonna actually hear this, but because it is actually said to him, but it's kind of in that breathy sort of disbelief of, no daughters?
No. Well, and he kind of leans in. It's a bit of a sore subject. to be honest, I'd recommend not bringing up. Yuna is Yuna's wonderful, but she lost a child when she was very, very young, and her husband Talon is wonderful, was very supportive, and has been able to deal with it, but it's still very much a sore spot for Yuna.
I'm sorry. Talon?
Yes, her husband's name is Talon. He's a lovely man. He actually. Do I? Mm-hmm. Is that name going to be familiar to me, even though it wouldn't actually be? You've never heard that. Okay, cool. Never heard that name before. You're not aware of anyone in Kakarotaka Village named Talon. You do know the name itself has a is more of a Sheikah name than a Hylian name, and in general, as many Hylian names as they could. So hearing a more Sheikah name just kind of fall out seemed weird.
All right, so I'm just kind of Kestrel looks visibly sort of struck by this, and just kind of sits back. And who is closest to me of my companions? Is like
me?
Is Pierre? I'm thinking it's probably Pierre.
I think it's me.
Which is good because I think you're closest to my height-ish as well. So, I mean, there's no way I could do this with Aruna surreptitiously. So I'm just gonna kind of turn my head and be like, we need to talk privately soon.
And as you say that, you hear the sound of a door opening and shutting. And as you look over, a woman who's always seemed a strength about her walks out and is kind of brushing off the landing in front of the house for a very long time. That as much as she seems like a very welcoming and wonderful woman, she's not the kind of woman that you would ever upset. You know that she is a very strong. Yuna steps outside and is brushing, and she sees Colin, and she goes, "Colin, hi. I'm sorry. Who are your friends, Colin?" And Colin turns. "Oh, these are well, this is Aruna. I believe you may have missed him the last time he was here. He's a trader from the Goron." "Oh, that's that. Who's the lovely little girl there? She looks. Wow, do you look familiar? I swear I've seen you somewhere before. Have we met?"
No.
And then you see
not in this lifetime. Just sort of said.
And then you see this kind of look of recognition, almost like she's been slapped at this point. She kind of, and then she slowly starts to retreat a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, and you form," and she wipes her away. I'm so very sorry. It's wonderful to meet you, miss. My name is Yuna. I unfortunately have some things that I need to take care of indoors. Colin, it was wonderful to see you. Please show them the hospitality, and for father my best. And you see her rush back inside very quickly.
Nice to meet you. Oh, she's gone.
I sort of like look at Cass and just sort of see the crisis and just sort of say,
totally,
"Do you want
like,
to take the time to talk now?"
I really do. Like, I need to have a moment.
And as that happens, you hear the door slam again, and you see a very large man, very muscular. You can see he wears, you can see the leather strap of like a back hilt or not back hilt, back scabbard on him, but you don't see anything protruding from his shoulder, so there's nothing in it. He's a man you've never seen before, but he has, again, deep red eyes that are distinctive of Sheikah, and he kind of rums out. He's like, Colin, wait a second. Cool. You. And he walks directly towards Pestro. He goes, you. What was your mother's name?
She's just like, fuck.
And he seems halfway between scared and angry at this point, but he's very, very close to you. He goes, what was your mother's name?
I don't know. I was.
And he kind of steps back and he's pacing around. And Colin is sitting there, Talon, what's wrong? I rude to our guest here. She's obviously not from around here. Colin, I need to speak with her. Miss, I apologize, but and he looks like he's trying very hard to compose himself.
Not to go.
You said you don't know your mother. Were you orphaned? Were you found somewhere? Is that why you don't know your mother? Is she dead? I need to know this. I need to know this.
I was raised by just my father, Merrick. So she's just trying to cling to what she knows, but trying desperately not to go, that was my mom, and I'm having trouble with this.
Did your father ever tell you your mother's name? Was it Airdrie? Was it Airdrie? Which is not a name
I've
you
never
recognize.
heard that name in my life.
I'm sorry.
Please step away
You
from
just
me.
and you see him you see him step back and you see him soften. Seems soften a little bit, and as he steps back, he goes, I apologize. You reminded us of someone we haven't seen in a very long time. It's probably just a coincidence. Again, my name is Talon. I'm one of the guardians here. I apologize for any discomfort. I was just I've got to go. Colin, it's great seeing you again. Yes, it was great seeing you as well. Talon, are you all right? Upset. It's not something we want to talk about. I've got to go. I need to see to Yuna. It was wonderful to meet you, Miss. I hope again as a Sheikah, you are always welcome here. To deal with, and he runs back into the house.
My name's Arut. Oh, he left too.
Are all of you this direct? It's very fascinating.
It was really.
We're
weird.
not actually. That was very bizarre. I've known Talon most of my life. He's generally very polite. He's one of our guardians. Which, to be honest, is not. There's not much for them to do anymore. That's why the hunters are my better customers. The hunters actively go out and get game for us while they guard the town, and they haven't really had a lot to do recently. so he mostly just trains the other guardians. He's a wonderful gentleman. And Yuna is phenomenal. She's a very kind and caring woman. Seems very weird the way they're reacting.
I still think you need a better name for him than
I
Guardians.
I apologize profusely for his behavior. It was very undignified and rude.
It's fine. It's fine. I need to be alone with. Could you give us a moment?
Yes, of course. I'll go ahead to the inn, and I'll get us some food. Just come whenever you're ready. Again, I'm very sorry if we've caused you discomfort. That was never my intention.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Really, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. It's right, and he gives you guys directions. It's like another 10 minutes away, and he kind of half jogs off, and you guys are now alone on the street. Like, this particular part of the city just doesn't seem to be very busy at this point in time.
Now, by alone, is it just me and her, or everybody, the whole?
The whole party.
Yeah.
Zulta seems a little bit miffed that she's no longer being escorted by someone.
Of course.
Beyond that, fine. But it's just the four of you guys.
I don't know what's going on, but this is where I grew up. I mean, not this. This isn't at all what I grew up with. But this is my home, and that was my mom. Or it should have been. I don't. And Kestrel's having a little bit of a hyperventilating, going I don't know what's going on. I'm halfway between I'm gonna possibly laugh a little bit, but also cry because it's that hysterical kind of what the hell?
Pierre tries to put a wing on her shoulder and try to get her to calm down.
So you feel very soft, down like feathers kind of envelop your shoulders. And Pierre kind of brings you in, not in kind of like a half, very comforting gesture.
What is this? Why are you pressing me against your body? It's called a hug, Michael. No. Sorry.
Yep.
But it's just a very comforting gesture. He starts to kind of pat your shoulder, try and you start just flirting with hysterics just a little bit.
Flirting with hysterics, the Kiri Callaghan story.
Next book coming out 2018. Available on Amazon now.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway, that's me right now.
And as that happens, that is actually where we are going to end the story. So I do want to thank everybody in chat for showing up, and thank you so much. I think we actually got a raid from someone earlier.
A raid from Lady Desiree. She's a friend of the channel.
Lady Desiree, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you to all of her fans that are watching. Again, we do run this show every other Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern.
Yeah, it's... time zones are so bad. I'm so bad with time zones. So if you'd like to see more of what's going on with this, this is actually our 4th episode. All 3 other episodes you can watch on demand here on Twitch or channel for Zelda Universe. That is youtube.com/Zelda, just Zelda Universe or Zelda
TV.
Universe TV.
YouTube is TV.
Yeah. So youtube.com/Zelda, and you can see the other episodes, get to meet. You can see Zulta, who is unfortunately not there tonight, and you can catch up on the story thus far. We also, again, have ways for you guys to interact. As soon as this episode is over, start tweeting at Zelda Universe your favorite moments from this episode. Whichever moment, hashtag it with hashtag Realms of the Wild. Whichever moment gets the most likes, the character will get a legend point. That came in very, very good for these guys today, obviously, with the very good use of them by Kestrel and Aruna. So, yeah, and then on the weeks that we aren't doing this, you can actually watch. We will rebroadcast this on the channel at same time, 9 a.m., and then it will go up on the YouTube channel next week. So this episode will go up on the YouTube channel next week if YouTube is your preferred way of watching video on demand, and you can make comments and stuff there too. So very, very quickly, does anyone have anything they would like to plug, really, or if people wanted to stalk you on the internets, where would be the best place to find you? We will start with
Alex.
Pierre. Alex,
Yes.
where's the best place for people?
You can find me on the internet in a lot of places. I am Luca_Starks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and on Twitch. I am youtube.com/LucaStarks, no underscore. All my art stuff's at alexrosenberg.net. Mondays at here on the ZU channel. I don't know what game I'm playing, so I might have you guys poll and decide what game I'm playing. Maybe Monday. So be on lookout for that. And then if you are in New York in January, I am presenting in New York, which I'll actually have more information for that as we get closer to like mid-January.
Excellent. Elias, if people wanted to find you, where would they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Elias Thompson everywhere on the internet. I also do stream right here on Zelda Universe TV solo in my segment called Let's Not Play Zelda, Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. And you can also find me at twitch.tv/WinecraftWednesday, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, wherein my co-host and I drink and rate wines while playing Minecraft.
Yes,
Awesome.
and yeah,
Correct.
it's a great show. Kiri, if people want to find you, and if you have any where would they find you?
You will find me as Kiri Callaghan on YouTube, Twitter, Kiri S. Callaghan on Facebook, but if you just put in my name, you'll find my page. On Twitch, I am Curiosity, and as well on, did I say YouTube? I think YouTube right now,
You
there's
did.
a new music video dealing with a Dragon Age Origins tribute because I'm a total nerd, wearing wig and full Valisling.
It's
as
really,
well
really
as-
cool, guys.
You should definitely check out this book that was written by me and is available in all of your major bookstores. You may have to order it through them because they might not carry it in stock because everyone stocks things differently, but you can find it on all major things. It's a modern Alice in Wonderland with a dark theme of nightmares and dreams. I highly recommend it. Also, if you're participating in, I can't pronounce it, but it's called the Book Flood. I don't know the Icelandic term for it, where you all read books on Christmas Eve. It's a great... Trying to get more people to just start this tradition because I think it's amazing, just reading books on Christmas Eve. Anyway.
So yes, that's Kiri stuff. I watched her music video yesterday. It is phenomenal. She has an amazing voice. She actually has a lot of other music stuff on there. For me personally, I am at TrainerJodie. On Twitter, youtube.com/TrainerJodie. I do stream on Twitch right now on Tuesday nights at the same time as Elias, despite the fact that I've been streaming at that time for 3 years. But no, I'm not bitter about it at all. I stream Dungeons and Dragons games, so if you guys want to see me running a different system on Tuesdays, it will be switching to another night, probably in December. To avoid some conflicts with some other shows, support and things like that. That's not Elias.
No,
Elias
he doesn't care about
friends,
conflicting
guys,
with
I
me.
promise. The other thing, yesterday, I do have a YouTube channel. I create content for it fairly regularly. Yesterday, the final in the first arc of my series called Creating Your Role, an actor's guide to role-playing, went up. The whole series thus far is 12 episodes, and it is literally just tips and tricks that anyone can use that I learned being a classically trained actor to be able to role play your character at the table better. If you're a DM, you can use it. If you are a player, you can use it. They're just really simple tips and tricks and stuff like that. The episode that went up yesterday was actually about warm-ups, acting warm-ups, to kind of get you in the mindset of role-playing and improvisational storytelling and things like that. So I'm really proud of the series. It's a really great series, and it will be continuing with more advanced role-playing techniques and stuff like that. But it'll be based on comments made on the video. So, you know, check the video out, comment, tell me what kind of stuff you would like to know about, you know, accents or, you know, other stuff that I do as an actor and a role player. It's really great and it's really fun. It's something I'm really proud of. So other than that, again, follow me on Twitch and Twitter and all that other stuff. Otherwise, like I said, tweet at Zelda Universe, use hashtag Roams of the Wild. Tell us your favorite moment from this. Next week, we will put up the poll because Twitter only allows polls to go for a maximum of 7 days for the MVP of this episode. And yes, please share this with all your friends, family members, or to steal a line from someone whom a lot of us here adore. Share it with your grandma. And I will see you guys next time. All right?
Bye.
Bye.
Why?